If you have a home or small office and only have a few users to manage, one option is to manage them each independently. You can create users from settings and accounts. You can see some accounts here: Jane, Jennifer, John, and Leah. Once you have users, you can also create folders and share them manually and apply your own permissions. This is usually sufficient when there aren't too many people or too many computers involved. However, when you have a lot of users to manage, say groups of accountants, groups of salespeople, inventory specialists, and maybe even a human resources department, you need a more robust management solution. You also need to be able to better manage the folders you share rather than trying to navigate and manage those in File Explorer. This is where groups come in. You can create groups in the Computer Management console. One way to open the console is to right-click Start and choose Computer Management. I already have that open. Look at the groups that already exist. You can expand local users and groups and then click Groups in the left pane to get there. You could put users in these groups, but generally businesses create their own. This will be clear in a second. To create a group, right-click in the middle pane and click New Group. I'm going to create a couple of groups and add users to them. First, I'll create a group called Accountants. I'll type a description. And I'll need to add a member. I'm going to add John. And I'll click Create. This will create a group called Accountants with one member named John. If I hire more accountants, all I have to do is add them to this group and they'll inherit the permissions that I've applied. Let's create another group, Inventory. Description. And let's add Jane to this group. I created these users in a previous movie. I'll click Create and Close and you'll see the groups appearing here and here, each having one member. Now that we have our groups, let's create a folder to share with one of them. Expand Shared Folders in the left pane and click Shares. I'll right-click in the middle pane. Click New Share. And then I'm going to use this shared folder wizard to get started. I'll click Next. I need to type a folder path. I'll click Browse. I'll scroll down to this PC. And I think I'll go ahead and put it in public. And I'll put it in Public Documents. And I'll click Next. I'm going to create a share name. And I'm going to type tax information. For a description, I'll type a little something and I'll click Next. Now I can put some default permissions in here or I can customize them. Let's look at the options. All users can have read access. Administrators can have full and other users read only. The third one is administrators can have full and others have no access. Or I can customize the permissions. Let's do that. I'll click the Custom button. Notice that everyone has read access to my new tax info folder. That's not what I want, so I'm going to remove the Everyone group and the only people I would like to have access to my tax info folder are the accountants. So I'm going to click Add here and I'm going to add them. Now I need to give my accountants the proper permissions. You can see 3 share permissions from the Share Permissions tab. One is full control, change, and the last one is read. You could set these, but it's better to click the Security tab and configure NTFS permissions. There are a lot more options there. Now let's give the accountants modify access. I'll click Edit. And I'll add them here. I'll click them in the list and I'll click Modify. I'll click OK. And I'll click OK again. And I'll click Finish. You can see the status and the summary here. And if you want to, you can run the wizard again. I won't do that. Instead, I'll click Finish. Here's my new folder. I can double-click the folder to see what settings I have. And here I can set a user limit, change a description, review share permissions, and review security. So that's how you create groups and assign permissions. But there's a lot more to learn with regard to the theory behind how to set this up, and that's beyond our scope at the moment. Generally though, it's best to leave share permissions alone and only configure NTFS permissions under the Security tab. It just simplifies things. When you have both share and NTFS permissions, the most restrictive wins, and then that just makes everything just a little more complex. For now, and before you continue on, if you're in charge of creating the share and permission structure for an organization, you're going to need to know a lot more about this beyond how to create a group and add users, or how to create a share and add groups. There's a lot of information you can learn around these topics. So make a note now about that and review related lectures when time allows.